This podcast is produced by Visionary Studios. Hey Wade.
Hey.
I don't know about you, but I kind of have deja vu right now.
Deja who?
Deja vu.
Oh.
Like we've done this before. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, that we recorded this exact same episode like almost 3 months ago.
Yeah. Seems about right.
A few months ago, guys, for all of you listening, we recorded 5 podcast episodes in one day, and our mics didn't record for any of them.
None.
0. And so it's been a struggle. It's been a journey. We have been dubbing over some of them and pleading, kindly begging other guests to come and redo them. Mm-hmm. And we're so grateful to have Spencer Hoddeson here with us today. Spencer, thank you so much for doing this again. How you doing?
Good. Thank you guys for having me again.
Of course. Well, since we last had you on about a year ago now, a lot has happened for your vodka soda company, Gay Water. Tell us all about it.
We had a really, really crazy year since we last chatted. Launch was amazing. I couldn't have asked for like a better response. Equally kind of got a great response from like mainstream media and got some real fun responses from like conservative news outlets, which was a trip. I did not expect like massive conservative like commentators to make an entire YouTube video on Gay Water. One of them had the headline that was like, it was a picture of the Gay Water can and it was pointing to it and it was like, Obama's fault ? I posted that one on the Gay Water social. Like, you can't make some of the shit up that they decided to somehow tie together to Gay Water.
When you look at the launch and the lead up to that, what was that like for you?
An insane amount of stress, not just like the normal level of stress and anxiety that us gays just inherently walk around with day to day, but definitely an elevated level of that. But a lot of excitement, right? Like a mixture of stress and anxiety, but like anxious, excited. I also feel like I went into like autopilot mode. I like shut out 99% of the people in my life. I like wasn't answering text messages for like days on end. And, I feel like aside from like my answering my parents, like they would have sent like a wellness check over to my apartment because it was all hands on deck, but also very, very fun, very exciting, just like craziness.
If you were to give advice to entrepreneurs who are starting out and are starting to launch something new, is there anything that you learned from this process that maybe you would tell them to help in their own business?
The best advice I can give is to keep moving forward, is be solutions oriented. Don't worry about like how you got into a situation. You're in the situation. You need to course correct. You need to problem solve. You need to keep moving forward. How can you salvage it if there's something that went wrong in a way that, it's not always going to be perfect, but in a way that at least allows you to kind of look ahead and keep going.
So speaking of progress, this past year, Gay Waters started to get into stores and retailers. I saw you posted some TikToks of you and your intern at Total Wine and getting people to try the product. I know you also pitched your product to Walmart. And what has it been like for you to see product in the hands of consumers?
Honestly, surreal. You sit with an idea at first for so long, and then it actualizes into some sort of prototype. And then, I've been sitting with it for a year and a half before I had launched. And I started to get a little bit like desensitized to like seeing cans all the time and seeing the logo all the time. But it's honestly surreal when you see like a real person who doesn't know the brand or has seen the brand only on social, and they see the product in real life, and the excitement that they get and the joy that it gives other people like reignites my own passion for it. Not because I'm not passionate about it, but more like what I was just saying, it's the same when you work at any company for a little bit long, like the shininess of it all starts dulling down, and it's those moments seeing customers interact with the product and the brand that helps to reignite the spark and keep it going.
Yeah. So you did pitch your product to Walmart. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about that experience?
It was back in October. So Walmart hosts a program called Open Call. So every year, they invite any business that's made in America to apply. Thousands of businesses apply. I think they invite a couple hundred to actually go to Bentonville, Arkansas, which is where Walmart and Sam's Club are headquartered, to pitch the brand live in front of buyers. They do a couple days of programming. It was a really again, a surreal experience, flying out and being on Walmart's home campus and pitch the brand to both Walmart and Sam's Club buyers, which was honestly went super well. It was great. It was great to just get FaceTime with people, even if, the product isn't going to hit shelves immediately. Just having those relationships makes sense. The Sam's Club buyer actually told me that this was the best presentation she's ever seen. And she's worked at Sam's Club for 27 years, which, it was one of my first times pitching the brand to a retailer in general. So to hear that was the most insane thing. I think my jaw, I had to mop it off the floor as I was leaving, because I was honestly in shock and awe. But also I do think, to that credit, we only had, when I applied, 2 weeks worth of revenue under our belt. It was so early on in the brand's life cycle that I think to that extent as well, most of the time they've seen products that are actually out there and coming to pitch. They've been in business for 5-10 years. So it was, first of all, very special and an honor just to have been invited, especially so early in the brand's sort of life cycle. But I think also there was that newness to it that may have excited the buyers a little bit more, that they don't really see brands like this early in their infancy.
Did you get any feedback that will help you shape the brand in the next year?
Yeah, a ton of feedback. Things that you can't really know from the outside, like Walmart, for example, sharing, our consumers only spend X amount of dollars typically on every store visit as it pertains to alcohol. And right now, I'll give you real feedback that they gave me, our 12 pack is higher than the average spend from a Walmart customer. So some real feedback they gave us was when you come out with 4 packs, that's actually what's right in line with our consumers' price point. We don't carry any brands in the 12 pack size, White Claw, Truly, High Noon, any of those, because, inherently it's more expensive than the typical Walmart customer will spend on alcohol. So things like that, which so helpful to know. Also something you can't really understand until you have a face-to-face conversation with the buyer and get their first party data.
One thing that makes me think about is just some recent studies and data that have shown that Gen Z is consuming less alcohol and they're going towards more mocktail drinks. Does that data mean anything to you? And does that go into consideration when you're thinking about the future of Gay Water and your offerings?
Absolutely. About 1 in 5 Gen Zers are not drinking, which is a little bit higher for sure than generations before. There is trends towards like low to no alc movement, which will definitely inform the way that we think about like later products. If we want to do a no alc product, it's definitely something that we're thinking about. Can't say anything yet. But yeah, constantly looking at industry trends as well as like trends within like the community's demographics, trends within just general beverage consumption habits.
Looking at the future of Gay Water, is there things beyond just beverage that you want to explore as you build out the brand, or do you want to keep it just in the alcohol space?
I mean, it's so early, right? Like we have to be super diligent and focused on executing against our like current strategy. But yeah, long term, I mean, I would love for things to move beyond just like beverage. I think I'm saying no, but like, to my knowledge, like no mainstream queer brands out there. Most of the brands that are out there that are queer owned or queer founded definitely infuse sort of their queerness into some of the marketing campaigns they do, but very few brands out there that are so, openly celebratory and like us, like mission driven, trying to create representation for the community on shelves. I think that I would love to be in other spaces as well that, again, like are true to our mission and bring representation in spaces where there typically isn't representation. Like for Gay Water, it's like we want to be in all of grocery stores, liquor stores, bars, restaurants, concert venues, bodegas, like places where queer people both shop and work. But aside from like maybe Pride Month, where a bodega will put up a pride flag outside to try to lure in queer customers, and then July 1st, like clockwork, that pride flag comes down. Like we want to be that brand that's on the shelves, that's representative of the community year round.
Speaking of like Pride Month, it seems especially like in the last year, the year previous, there's been like an increase in conservative pushback towards like anything Pride related, LGBT influencers, anything of the sort. When you're thinking about the future of the company, does that pushback inform or change like what the brand looks like, what the brand does, or are you more just focused on those who are already a part of the gay community?
No, I don't think any of that is going to inform like how the brand manifests and continues to evolve. I think that we are at such a point in our country where the voices, like the minority of those vocal, like there's a small vocal like minority in this country that's really, really loud. And I think that they're going to continue to be really, really loud. But at the end of the day, this country is about to have its like most diverse generation of all time. The first, I think Gen Z, if I'm not mistaken, Gen Z either is or the next generation will be the first like non-white majority generation. So I think the folks that vocal minority is it's starting to die down in this country. Gen Z is so progressive and so focused on change that I think long term, like brands like mine, I think there's going to be less of a need for these brands long term and more of, a desire for everyone to just feel like infuse the community into their brand or like organically.
Yeah. And I think a part of why those groups, kind of as you were implying, they're so loud because they're dying off. And Gen Z values diversity and inclusion. And friendly reminder to those listening to register to vote. It's an election year, so make sure that you make your voice heard. What are your 2024 plans for the brand, for Spencer? Like, where do you see things going?
Therapy. No. Deep levels of therapy. No.
Well, wait, but before you continue, I think that raises an interesting point is like, how do you balance this all? You're running a brand, you're doing Gay Water socials, you're doing Spencer socials. How does that all stay balanced and on track while still having a personal life?
Good question. I mean, it's super challenging, especially as like a solo entrepreneur. There's not. It definitely has been like one of the hardest years of my life. Just like balancing, my emotions, the business, like. You don't really like shut off. It's not like a typical day job where, 9 to 6, 9 to 7, 9 to 8 even. Like my brain is constantly swirling and thinking about it and worried about, everything that's happening. I would say like my best tactics to manage kind of everything going on is like one, being really, really organized, a lot of checklists, a lot of scheduling. I know not everyone can be or is type A, but like really organizing your like thoughts and tasks in a way that keeps you accountable I've found is super helpful. But then it's also like you become one of those crazy people who's like scheduling every time you're seeing a friend, every dinner, every like event you go to. So it does it feels a little bit like there's less spontaneity, which is something that I honestly, as a human, love. Like I love canceled plans. I love leaving my apartment and having like a spontaneous day. So that is disappointing, but I do think, to like maintain sanity, it's really important that like as whether you have a co-founder or not, like anyone who's running a business like needs to be really on top of their shit and really organized.
How many people are currently on the Gay Water team?
So full-time, I'm the only full-time person, which is going to be changing soon. Knock on wood. Everyone cross their fingers and toes, but we're waiting for an investor to come through, which should change a lot of things. But I have a lot of like part-time and fractional folks who kind of come in and out just depending on the like current needs of the business. So like think designers or ops people, fractional CFO, like that kind of thing, where as needed, I'll like pull people in and out. But for the most part, like day to day, which is why my brain is probably exploding. It's just me that, is working until 10 o'clock. And I try not to be one of those crazy people who sends off like manic 1 a.m. texts or emails to people, because I don't think anything gets done when you're like that.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Spencer, for being here today and doing this again, and fitting us in your schedule. We appreciate it.
Of course.
We have tried Gay Water now, and we can give it good reviews. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening and you want to try it, you get our stamp of approval.
Do you have a Google so we could review it 5 stars?
I know. I need to add reviews to the website.
Well, we've been
getting a lot of good reviews. We're at there's a product floating all around Aspen Gay Ski Week right now. So I've been getting like texts left and right from friends, like literally people from all walks of life. Like my childhood best friend who's actually straight and there with his wife randomly in Aspen just sent me a picture an hour ago being like, didn't know it was Gay Ski Week and so happy to see that Gay Water is here. I was like,
that's so cool.
This is amazing, but also like, to be straight and like just happen upon Gay Ski Week. Must be very interesting experience.
Yeah. Well, if you need a testimonial for the website, we're happy to write one. It'd be a glowing review.
Or if you need us to test new products.
Yes, we're happy to try anything out.
That's more likely. We're trying to unpack that into like a beverage review podcast.
Ooh, I'd love that. I'd love that.
I want to do a podcast where like you get more drunker as you are recording the podcast. Like everyone has to drink. There's like a concept in New York, in the city. It's called a drinking game, and basically it's so fun. The audience and the people on stage. There's like sorry, I'll backtrack. My brain scrambled. Like they'll pick like a movie every week, and there's like a troupe of performers. It's at like a physical location, and basically they will read through the script once to like Hocus Pocus or like Legally Blonde, like fun, iconic Mean Girls, like iconic movies, and then among the troupe like assign parts, and that's the only time that they'll read the script together, and then they like go away, they all like learn their lines, and then the next time that they actually like perform the movie is when they're all together on stage, and like they'll pick a couple of buzzwords, and every time that one of those words comes up in like Mean Girls, for example, like I don't know, what's a word that comes up, like catty or like
fetch.
pink, like fetch. Like every time they address another character by name, like that character has to drink. So like there's all these rules similar to like when you would watch The Bachelor, and there's like a Bachelor drinking game, but this time both you and the audience and them on stage have to drink. So like everyone's getting drunker as it goes on. I want like a podcast like that where as the podcast is recording, we get drunker. Maybe our next episode we film, we'll have to rename it to Let's Black Out That. Let's Black Out.
Well, Spencer, for those who maybe haven't purchased Gay Water yet or aren't following you or the brand, do you want to give them all the info so they can check you and the brand out?
For sure. We are at Drink Gay Water on all socials. And then our website's gaywater.com /looking if you're trying to find where we have product stock near you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Find us on social, find us online.
Sounds great. The people need to check it out because it's so good. It's really
delicious.
Is so good. And you guys can follow us on TikTok at Unpack That Pod and on Instagram at Unpack THT. Thank you, Spencer, and we'll see you guys right back here every other Thursday. Bye, everyone.